Every night, over 28,000 Australians over the age of 55 have no place to call home. Some are sleeping in their cars, others are crashing on friends' couches, and many are just invisible. How did we get here? How did a country like Australia, one of the wealthiest in the world, allow its elderly to be pushed into homelessness? You'd think after decades of hard work, seniors would enjoy a peaceful retirement. But in 2026, rent prices have exploded, and it's hitting our most vulnerable the hardest. Is it just about money, or is something deeper going on, something no one's talking about? This isn't just a housing crisis, it's a ticking time bomb. And today, we're uncovering the 10 hidden reasons why rent in Australia is spiraling out of control, and why seniors are paying the ultimate price. Stay with us, you need to hear this.
Number 1. Limited supply of affordable housing. Let's start with the most obvious but often misunderstood issue. There simply aren't enough affordable homes in Australia. Over the past decade, housing construction has failed to keep up with population growth, especially in major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Developers have focused heavily on luxury apartments and high-end housing, chasing big profits, while affordable rental units have all but vanished. And here's the heartbreaking part. Many seniors who once owned their homes have had to sell due to rising medical costs, family breakdowns, or financial hardship. When they turn to the rental market, they're met with sky-high prices and little to no availability. Government programs meant to support low-income renters? Severely underfunded. Public housing waiting lists stretch for years, not months. And private landlords are often unwilling to rent to older tenants, viewing them as risky, especially if they're on pensions. To make things worse, developers are sitting on vacant land, waiting for prices to rise rather than building. This creates an artificial shortage that drives rents even higher. So when you hear about a 75-year-old woman sleeping in her car or a pensioner lining up at a soup kitchen, remember, it's not because they made bad choices. It's because the system has stopped building homes people can actually afford. This crisis didn't appear overnight. It's been slowly growing, brick by brick. And sadly, seniors who built the very neighborhoods we live in are now being pushed out of them.
Number 2. Rapid population growth in urban centers. Australia's cities are growing fast. And while growth usually sounds like a good thing, in this case, it's driving seniors out of their homes. Over the past few years, major urban hubs like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane have seen massive population surges, fueled by both international migration and people moving from rural areas in search of work, healthcare, and education. That means more people competing for fewer homes, especially rentals. And guess what happens when demand skyrockets and supply stays the same? Prices go through the roof. Young professionals, students, and families are all fighting for rental properties, but seniors don't stand a chance in this bidding war. On a fixed pension, how can they compete with double-income households offering well above the asking price? To make matters worse, many older Australians prefer living in cities because they need easy access to doctors, hospitals, public transport, and community services. But those are the very areas where rent is climbing the fastest. So unless they move far out to the suburbs, where services are harder to access, they're stuck in a losing battle. Even shared housing isn't always an option. Seniors often have health needs or privacy concerns that make communal living difficult or even dangerous. It's a cruel irony. The places where seniors need to live to survive are the very places pushing them into homelessness. Urban growth isn't just crowding cities, it's crowding out the people who built them. And if the population continues to rise without serious investment in housing, today's crisis will look like a minor warning compared to what's coming next.
Number 3. Investors dominating the rental market. One of the biggest and most quietly destructive forces behind Australia's rental crisis is the invasion of property investors. Today, more than one-third of all residential properties in Australia are owned by investors, not families. And many of them aren't mom-and-pop landlords. They're large-scale investors and real estate speculators looking for one thing: profit. That means rent isn't based on what's fair or sustainable. It's based on what the market will tolerate. If someone is willing to pay more, even just $50 extra a week, landlords are encouraged to take it. And when rental demand is sky-high, they know they can keep raising prices, often without making any improvements to the property. What happens to seniors in this equation? They get priced out, fast. Older Australians, especially those relying on the age pension, can't match the financial muscle of younger, wealthier tenants. Investors don't see seniors as long-term assets. They see them as financial risks, especially if there's concern over their ability to keep up with future rent hikes. Worse still, some landlords use rent-evictions, evicting tenants under the excuse of renovations, only to relist the property at a much higher price afterward. Seniors, often unfamiliar with their legal rights or too tired to fight back, quietly accept it and disappear. This isn't about housing anymore. It's about turning homes into income streams, with little thought for the humans living inside them. When profit becomes the priority over people, vulnerable groups like seniors are always the first to suffer. And if this trend continues unchecked, the very idea of affordable rent might become a thing of the past. We pour hours of research and heart into every video, so if this moved you, drop a comment with your thoughts or a story others need to hear. And hey, subscribing takes just one click, but it helps us keep shining light on the issues that matter.
Number 4. Rising cost of living. It's not just rent that's going up. Everything is. From groceries to electricity, from medications to fuel, the cost of living in Australia has soared to record highs in 2026. And for seniors living on a fixed income, it's like being caught in a financial storm with no umbrella. Imagine trying to budget $540 a week from the age pension, and more than half of that disappears just to cover rent. Now add utility bills, food, prescriptions, and transport. What's left? Sometimes nothing. Many seniors are now facing impossible choices. Do they pay rent or buy groceries? Do they refill a prescription or cover the electricity bill? Do they skip meals or skip the heating? This kind of financial stress builds up quickly, especially for older people who are more likely to have health issues or mobility limitations. A missed payment can mean eviction. A small debt can spiral into homelessness. And unlike younger people who might have job options or savings, most seniors can't just work more hours to make ends meet. They're retired. They've already done their part. Meanwhile, inflation continues to erode their spending power. $1 today simply doesn't go as far as it did 5 years ago. And yet, pension increases have barely kept up, offering no real relief. The result? More and more seniors are living below the poverty line, even after a lifetime of contributing to society. When basic survival becomes a daily challenge, homelessness is never far behind. The cost of living crisis isn't just hitting the wallet, it's hitting dignity, health, and the fundamental right to feel safe in your own home.
Number 5. Outdated pension system. Australia's age pension was once considered a safety net, a way to support older citizens who had finished their working years. But in 2026, that safety net is full of holes, and far too many seniors are falling straight through it. Let's be honest, the system simply hasn't kept pace with reality. The base pension payment currently sits at around $540 per week for a single person. That might have worked 15 years ago, but today, it barely covers rent in most cities, let alone groceries, bills, medications, or transport. And while rent prices have risen 30 to 50% in some areas over the last few years, pension increases have been tiny, often just a few dollars a year. It's like trying to fix a flood with a bucket. There's also a major flaw in how the pension system assumes people live. It was designed at a time when most seniors owned their homes outright by retirement. But today, More and more Australians are renting into their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Yet the system doesn't account for that shift. There's limited rental assistance available, and even that has strict eligibility rules and doesn't reflect real-world rental prices in cities. For example, a senior renting in inner Melbourne may receive just $75 a week in rental assistance while paying over $500 in rent. The math doesn't add up, and neither does the system. So when seniors fall behind on rent or can't cover a rent increase, they're often forced to downsize suddenly, move into unsafe accommodation, or end up on the street. The pension system is supposed to protect our elderly, but in its current form, it's leaving them dangerously exposed.
Number 6. Loss of long-term rentals to Airbnb and short-term leases. Here's a hidden driver of the rental crisis that's rarely talked about but impossible to ignore: the explosion of Airbnb and short-term rentals. In popular cities and coastal towns across Australia, thousands of homes that were once available to long-term renters have now been converted into holiday stays and short-term accommodation. Why? Because landlords can earn double or even triple the income by renting to tourists instead of tenants. And while this might be great for weekend visitors, it's a disaster for seniors looking for stable, affordable housing. Entire neighborhoods have become ghost towns during the week, only to fill up with holidaymakers on weekends. Meanwhile, elderly renters are being evicted or priced out as landlords chase short-term profits over long-term security. This trend is especially brutal in regional areas and beach towns where many retirees settle. Older Australians who have lived in these communities for decades are now being pushed out, not because they can't pay, but because someone else will pay more per night. And unlike younger renters who might have the flexibility to move often, seniors need stability. Moving constantly, dealing with new leases, or adjusting to new environments isn't just stressful, it's dangerous for their mental and physical health. Some councils have tried regulating short-term rentals, but enforcement is weak and loopholes are everywhere. Meanwhile, the number of available long-term rentals continues to shrink, tightening the market and pushing rents even higher. When homes are treated like hotel rooms, real people lose their places to live. And once again, seniors are the ones paying the highest price.
Number 7. Poor legal protection for older renters. You'd think that after a lifetime of contributing to society, seniors would have strong legal protections when it comes to housing. Sadly, that's far from the truth. In many parts of Australia, tenancy laws are still stacked in favor of landlords, leaving older renters exposed, powerless, and often afraid. Take no-grounds evictions, for example. In some states, landlords can legally evict tenants without giving a reason, even if they've paid rent on time and taken care of the property. Seniors, many of whom are too tired, unwell, or unaware of their rights, often don't challenge these notices. They pack up and leave quietly, often with nowhere else to go. There's also the issue of short-term leases. Many seniors are placed on 6 or 12-month contracts, forcing them to move again and again. That's not just inconvenient, it's exhausting and destabilizing, especially for older people with health conditions or limited mobility. Legal aid services are available, but they're often underfunded and overwhelmed, and navigating them can be intimidating for someone in their 70s or 80s. And with growing digital systems and complex application processes, seniors without tech skills are left behind. What's worse, even when seniors know their rights, fear of retaliation, like sudden rent increases or further eviction threats, keeps many silent. The bottom line, the legal system isn't built for vulnerable renters. It assumes all tenants have the time, resources, and health to fight back. But that's simply not the case for most older Australians. Without stronger laws and enforcement, landlords hold all the power, and seniors are left with no safety, no stability, and no home they can truly rely on.
Number 8.
Mental and physical health decline leading to housing instability. For many seniors, housing isn't just about having a roof overhead. It's about feeling safe, secure, and supported. But when mental and physical health begins to decline, even a stable home can become fragile. Let's face it, aging comes with challenges. Chronic pain, mobility issues, memory loss, and illnesses like dementia or depression aren't rare, they're common. And managing these conditions while navigating the stress of rising rents, lease renewals, and moving house can be overwhelming. Imagine a 78-year-old pensioner with arthritis being told she has 60 days to vacate her unit, or a retired man with early-stage dementia trying to find a new rental in a competitive market. These aren't hypotheticals, they're real situations playing out across Australia. When mental health declines, so does the ability to advocate for oneself. Seniors may miss rent payments by mistake, forget to lodge paperwork, or struggle to understand complex lease terms. In the eyes of landlords, that can look like unreliability, and suddenly, eviction is on the table. Worse, once a senior is evicted, the trauma of losing their home can trigger rapid health deterioration. Studies show that homelessness or housing instability in older adults often leads to hospitalizations, increased medication use, and even premature death. There's also a cruel irony at play. Seniors with serious health issues need stable housing the most, yet they're the most likely to lose it when things go wrong. Without targeted support services, accessible housing options, and landlords trained to work with older tenants, health challenges can quickly spiral into housing crises. And in a country as developed as Australia, no one should lose their home simply because they got sick or started to age.
Number 9. Discrimination in the rental market. It's a hard truth to face, but it's one that must be said. Ageism is alive and well in Australia's rental market. While it may not always be obvious or openly admitted, many seniors are quietly being discriminated against when applying for rental properties. Landlords and real estate agents often favor younger, full-time employed tenants, seeing them as low risk and financially secure. Meanwhile, older applicants living on the age pension are often overlooked, ignored, or politely declined. Why? Because landlords worry that seniors may have health issues that interfere with tenancy, be unable to keep up with rent increases, stay in the property too long, making it harder to increase turnover or profits, be difficult tenants due to mobility needs or required home modifications. These unspoken biases result in older Australians being passed over again and again, no matter how reliable their rental history is. In some cases, seniors are even asked for co-signers, larger bonds, or extra documentation, hurdles that younger tenants don't face. This kind of discrimination is not just unfair, it's devastating. It leaves seniors feeling unwanted, undervalued, and pushed to the margins of society. What makes it even worse is that many older renters don't even realize they're being discriminated against. They chalk it up to bad luck or think they just didn't apply fast enough. But the truth is, they're being judged not by who they are, but by how old they are. Until stronger anti-discrimination protections are enforced and rental applications become fairer and more transparent, seniors will continue to be locked out of safe, stable housing. And that means more empty promises and more full shelters.
Number 10. Breakdown of community and family support systems. Not long ago, it was common for seniors in Australia to live with family or stay connected to strong local communities. But today, those support systems are cracking under pressure or disappearing altogether. The traditional image of multi-generational households, where grandparents live with children and grandchildren, is becoming rare. Economic stress, space limitations, and changing social dynamics mean fewer families can take in aging parents, even if they want to. At the same time, communities have become more transient and disconnected. Neighbors don't always know each other. Support networks have thinned out. And for many seniors, especially those who are widowed, childless, or estranged from family, there's no one to call when things go wrong. This growing isolation is dangerous. When rent becomes unaffordable, there's no safety net, no spare bedroom to crash in, no friend to lean on, no community member to step in. The result? Seniors are falling through the cracks, quietly and alone. Even public services that once supported the elderly are now overwhelmed and underfunded. Caseworkers are stretched too thin, and affordable aged care facilities have long waiting lists. There's simply not enough help to go around. And let's not forget the emotional toll. The fear of becoming a burden stops many seniors from asking for help, even when they desperately need it. They suffer in silence, trying to hold on to their independence until it's too late. When family ties weaken and communities fade, the elderly are left to navigate a brutal rental market alone, and too often, that leads straight to homelessness. A society that fails to care for its elders is a society in crisis, and unless we rebuild those lost connections, this crisis will only get worse. Right now, across Australia, thousands of seniors are sleeping in cars, couch surfing, or living on the streets, not because they made bad choices, but because the system failed them. We've uncovered 10 major reasons why rent has spiraled out of control in 2026, and how this crisis is hitting the elderly the hardest. From greedy investors and broken policies, to short-term rentals and family breakdowns, it's a perfect storm. And what's truly heartbreaking is this. Many of these people never imagined this would be their future. They worked, they paid taxes, they raised families, yet now they're struggling to survive. This isn't just an economic issue, it's a moral one. Because how we treat our most vulnerable says everything about who we are as a society. The good news? This crisis is solvable, but only if we act, only if we care. So if this video moved you, don't scroll past. Share it. Start the conversation. Pressure leaders to make housing a right, not a privilege. Because every person, especially our elders, deserves the dignity of a safe place to call home. Solving the senior housing crisis in Australia won't happen overnight, but it can be done. Here are real, actionable steps that can make a difference. 1. Build more affordable and public housing. Governments must invest in social housing specifically designed for seniors, close to healthcare, transport, and community services. Not just units, but livable homes that support aging in place. 2. Reform tenancy laws. We need national consistency on renters' rights. That means ending no-grounds evictions, increasing minimum lease lengths, and ensuring rent caps in high-demand areas. 3. Regulate short-term rentals. Airbnb-style listings must be limited in areas facing housing shortages. Local councils should enforce rental limits and incentivize long-term leasing to real tenants, not tourists. 4. Strengthen the pension system. Pension payments must be indexed to actual cost of living increases, especially rent. Rental assistance should be expanded, simplified, and tailored to current market conditions. 5. Fund senior support services. Community organizations need better funding to provide financial counseling, legal aid, and housing navigation services for the elderly. Seniors should never have to face eviction alone. 6. Rebuild social connections. encourage intergenerational housing programs, community hubs, and services that reduce isolation and reconnect seniors with support networks. If this video opened your eyes, tell us in the comments, what shocked you the most? Your voice matters more than you think. We put real heart and hard work into bringing these stories to light. So if you believe in what we're doing, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. And before you go, watch our previous video. It connects deeply with today's topic and might just change how you see housing in Australia. Together, we can raise awareness and demand better.